time to top off your coffee and grab a few movies, because we're staying up all night and ranking the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Starting off at the bottom of the barrel, my number 9 is Freddys Dead, The Final Nightmare. This is legitimately one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. The writing is bad. The acting ranges from mediocre to awful. The premise is nonsensical, and there's pretty much no continuity with any of the previous films. Rachel Talalay, sorry if I said that wrong, is a good director, but her talents are completely wasted here. There are 1 or 2 decent kills, and Robert Englund is doing his best, but it's not enough to save this movie. This isn't the movie that turned Freddy into a joke, but it is the movie that solidified him as a joke.
Boing, boing. Boing, 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 boing. What do you know? I beat my high score.
Oh, also, there's a character whose nickname is Doc, yet at no point does Freddy ask him,
What's up, Doc?
What a wasted opportunity. My score is 0.5 out of 5. Number 8 is Nightmare 5, The Dream Child. Both of these movies' kills are great, and the visual aesthetic is very cool. That's it. The acting is bad, the writing is worse, the plot is stupid, and the characters have the depth of tracing paper.
It's a boy!
This movie is bad and I don't like it. My score is 1 out of 5. Number 7 is the 2010 remake. Look, if nothing else, Jackie Earle Haley is genuinely great as Freddy. When they eventually get around to making another Nightmare movie, if Robert Englund doesn't come back to play Freddy, they should get Jackie. I like that they tried to make Freddy look like a real burn victim. It's kind of cool. The opening kill is gruesome, terrifying, and probably the best part of the movie.
You're not real! You're not real! You're not real! I am now.
Dean, what are you doing?
You're not real!
Dean, stop it! Dean! Dean, stop! Dean!
Unfortunately, it's the opening scene, meaning it's all downhill from there. I do like that they added microsleep into the mix, because that's actually a real thing. For those of you who don't know, a microsleep, or micronap as they call it in the film, is something that happens when you've been awake for a very long time. Your body will essentially force you to get any sleep it possibly can, and you'll lose consciousness for anywhere from a fraction of a second to up to 30 seconds.
You're bleeding.
It's one of the only new things the remake added that I actually like. In spite of all that, this is one of the worst remakes I've ever seen. It tries to be visually faithful to the original, which I can appreciate, but it mostly uses CGI instead of practical effects, and for the most part, it just looks worse. And also, for the first time in the franchise, Freddy is a confirmed child molester, not just a child murderer. I am not a fan of this change. I know that in the first movie, Craven originally intended for him to be a child molester, but I am glad they changed it to just child murderer. Finally, the writing is awful, and Rooney Mara is completely wasted here. My score is 1.5 out of 5. Number 6 is Nightmare 4: The Dream Master. This one is actually decent. The acting is okay, most of the kills are solid, and the plot is at least somewhat coherent. Renny Harlin is a pretty good director, even if he has made more bad films than good, and he does a decent job of telling the story visually. And I do love the whole time loop bit. That was very creative.
Come on, we have to hurry.
What's going on?
I'm driving. He's going after Debbie. I gotta stop him.
We gotta stop him. I'm with you on this thing. I want to help you. I'm on your side, okay?
I want you to love me and just touch me. Or put your hands on me.
Here we are. Come on, we have to hurry.
What's going on?
I'm driving.
On the other hand, all the teens except for Kristen and Alice are completely one-dimensional, they have no depth, they just have like one or two basic character traits. This girl is a nerd and has asthma. This girl likes to work out, and we know that because she's always talking about it even though we only see her doing it once. And so on and so forth. And finally there's the stupid karate fight against Invisible Freddy.
For balance. Yes. Side.
Which literally only happened because they ran out of money. My score is 2.25 out of 5. My number 5 is Freddy vs. Jason. I totally get why some people love this movie so much, but to see things from their perspective, I would have to wear blinders. Starting with the positives, this movie does at least deliver on its title. The premise is solid, and every time Jason and Freddy are on screen together is gold. And even when they're just on screen alone, it's usually fine. And the final battle kicks ass. I also like Will and Mark, they're a lot of fun to watch. This movie's kills are a mixed bag. The practical effects are solid, but the early 2000s CG is awful and they use way too much of it. We do get a pretty funny kill when Jason gets electrocuted, grabs a cop, and electrocutes him too. On the downside, most of the teenage characters suck. They're not the worst in the franchise by any means, but they're so superficial and flat that they can be painful to watch at times, and we spend way too much time with them. I'm also not a fan of how seemingly everything goes flying when it gets hit. It's a crappy special effect and it's overused to hell and back. Score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 4 is Nightmare 2: Freddys Revenge. I fucking love this movie, man. It's so weird and unique that I just can't help but love it. It's not a great movie, but it's one of those movies that proves that a movie does not have to be great to be awesome. And this movie is awesome. The main characters are mostly likable and interesting, with Mark Patton giving us one of the first male Scream Queens, possibly the first. Someone please confirm that for me.
Baby. This is where you belong. Don't make me wait too long. All night long. Hold me, baby.
And Robert Englund gives us the darkest portrayal of Freddy outside the remake, which is awesome. He's completely serious here. He doesn't crack any jokes. I love his look. Like, he looks like wet meat, and it's creepy as hell. And we also get the one and only time Freddy just goes on a straight-up killing spree, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but I just love it so much. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, this movie is very disappointing compared to the original. It's not as scary, it's not as entertaining, and ultimately it just feels like a big step down. My score is 3 out of 5. This is the point where my ranking gets controversial if it hasn't already. So, if you don't like it, tough. For every mean comment I get, I'm donating $100 to Planned Parenthood. Wait, this isn't Facebook. Anyway, number 3 is Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors. This one is just genuinely great. Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, Patricia Arquette, John Saxon, and Ken Sagos, hope I said that right, are all great. Most of the kills are solid, and some of them are pretty scary.
Why should we fight? We're old friends, you and I. Remember?
Let's get high.
The special effects hold up surprisingly well, and I absolutely love the little stop-motion Freddy we get for a few seconds. The characters are likable and smart, the plot is solid, and the scares genuinely work. My one problem with this movie is Will's death. His wizard costume is lame, the kill is just another finger knife stab, which we've seen a dozen times before. There's almost no blood, and he makes a really stupid noise when it happens. My score is 4 out of 5. My number 2 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yes, I know. I don't care. New Nightmare is one of the most underrated meta horror movies ever. This Freddy doesn't follow the rules because he's not actually Freddy. He's some kind of demonic entity who takes the form of Freddy. The kills are all solid, and Julie's death is one of the best in the franchise.
Nothing there. Dylan, what's wrong? Dylan, stop it. You're scaring me. Dylan.
Heather Langenkamp, John Saxon, and Robert Englund are all great. The writing is excellent, the music is great, and the ending fucking rules.
Heather, thanks for having the guts to play Nancy one last time. At last, Freddy's back where he belongs. Regards, Wes.
Is it a story?
Yeah, it's a story.
Read me some.
We open on an old wooden bench. There's fire and tools, and a man's grimy hands building what soon is revealed as a gleaming set of claws.
A score is 4.5 out of 5. Finally, number 1 is the original A Nightmare on Elm Street. This movie is a classic. It is Wes Craven's first masterpiece. His second was Scream. The visuals, the writing, the acting, the kills, the scares, it's all great. Freddy's intro is iconic as hell, and the climax is epic. My one and only complaint, stop me if you've heard this one before, is the ending. Feels very tacked on, and Nancy's mom's death is hilariously awful. Seriously, look at this blow-up doll! Score is 5 out of 5. Hey everyone, let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that. And if you don't like the video, subscribe anyway so you can tell me how bad my other stuff is. And for those of you who are wondering, yeah, I got a new place to film. At least for now, it's temporary, but I'll use it while I can. And for those of you who are wondering, these are the posters up there. That's all for today. Stay safe in these crazy times.